Dear family and friends, we have gathered here together to grieve, say goodbye, and celebrate the life of Suzanne Reed. We offer gratitude and prayers for her life of love and service, for we know that our lives are deeper, richer, and better because she lived among us.
We were I'd like to welcome you all here this afternoon on behalf of Arnie and his daughter Sherry Reed Crotty, Suzanne's mother, Nell Brazy, her sister by blood, Melissa Reese, and her sister by choice, Joan Bennett. We are so grateful to have you here with us today, especially given the terrible weather that we've had the last few days. And we're here to honor the life of Suzanne Reed. When first diagnosed with her cancer, she was told she would have 9 months left to live, and she made it to 18. And during that time, she not only continued to live out our Unitarian Universalist covenant that she loved so dearly, and to set an example for others in the face of great illness and pain, but she also claimed every last bit of joy from the life she had left to live. With Arnie as her beloved companion, they hit their bucket list with fervor, traveling all over the world between bouts of chemotherapy. Her life was one not only filled with love received, but also of love given in countless ways. Arnie has chosen 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 13 for our reading today. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.
No one really knows the story of anyone's life, mine or yours, until death and those final chapters are written. And there is not one person here who can tell the whole story of Suzanne's life. But oh, do we all have important memories to gather together to tell that story. Memories that make kings and queens of us all. So today I always think of the eulogy as priming the pump a little bit. I'm going to tell a little about different parts of her life, maybe a verse here or there in the song. And then there'll be opportunities for all of you to share memories as the afternoon goes on. Suzanne grew up in Pensacola, Florida. Many of her family is still there. She's big sister, I understand, to Robert, Angela, and Melissa. During high school, she worked for the public service utility where she met Larry Brees. Her beloved father, Robert Sanders, died when she was 16, and shortly afterwards, Suzanne introduced Larry to her recently widowed mother, Nell. Larry and Nell have now been married for 35 years. As a young adult in Pensacola, Suzanne worked for Fisher Brown Insurance. And during those young years, she started to grow that compassionate heart in the way that we all do, both through joyful experiences and those terrible experiences that scar our hearts. Her father's illness was one of those scarring experiences, and it was followed by a trauma that she didn't like to talk about much. She was robbed, amongst other people, at a job that she had at gunpoint while at work. In that time of feeling trauma, she married and moved to Memphis, where at age 22, she had to work very hard. She always had several jobs because her husband was alcoholic and did not contribute. She became a manager of several medical practices, including a psychiatric practice, and worked for Eastland Medical Center. Now, she turned out to be quite an IT person. She converted manual processes to mechanized office systems and trained staff in doctors' offices in rural areas throughout West Tennessee, North Mississippi, and eastern Arkansas. Then, after about 8 years, I believe, her husband was arrested, found guilty, and imprisoned. And she found out that he was already married and still married. And so she does not count him as her first husband. But it was definitely a traumatic experience. She met her second husband in Al-Anon. You can imagine why she went there. And married her first husband, had a wonderful marriage. He did pass away, however. At that time, she was kind of combining her open heart with her IT experience as IT director for Agape Child and Family Services in Memphis. Now, it was no surprise that such a tech-savvy young widow went online to see if she could find someone to date. And this is around 2003 when Arnie was a recent widower, and his son encouraged him to do the same. So Arnie and Suzanne were mature and experienced in the ways of love and marriage. They knew what they wanted and needed. It took them very little time to know that they loved one another and wanted to marry. So she moved from Memphis to Nashville and worked online as a chat room supervisor for several companies and several other multiplayer online game sites. Shortly after Twitter came into being, Suzanne was at one time Nashville's #1 tweeter. In 2009, she played an active role in relaying messages between protesters during the short-lived Iranian uprising. Now, not long after she and Arnie joined this congregation, First UU of Nashville, they joined the GLBT, that would be gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender, and friends group. Now, Suzanne assumed the role of vice chair, because she's so organized and such a good communicator. And when the chair abruptly departed, Suzanne stepped up to his position and headed up funds Vote No on One Fight against the constitutional ballot initiative banning gay marriage. She helped arrange for a statewide gathering right here in this room of representatives from every UU church in Tennessee, including the keynote speaker, Jack Centerfit of Lambda Legal. Suzanne helped get a grant to pay his travel and lodging expenses to come from Atlanta to speak to our group. Last year, the Supreme Court confirmed that we were on the right side of history, and Arnie is proud to keep his Vote No on One yard sign up in front of their house to remember Suzanne's role in that fight. Now, I got to know Suzanne's great heart and commitment to acting on it during those days, those early days of their membership here. It was the day that one of the beloved members of the congregation passed away suddenly in the middle of the night. And I went there to be with his partner at dawn, and there were Suzanne and Arnie already there taking care of him. To a widow and a widower who knew what someone would really need in that moment. Since then, I was a sounding board for her as she supported her family members, several of them at different times during times of great trauma. And when she planned a pilgrimage and memorial service at the headwaters of the Mississippi River for her late husband. I watched as she took a woman from church who was struggling with alcoholism into her home and mothered her until she was well into her recovery. Those are just some of the ways that I have seen her heart in action. In 2012, she was diagnosed with cancer, and we know that she lived life to the fullest. It was through music that she found joy and healing, even when things were at its most painful. She loved supporting Arnie's band, following her favorite musicians, and even more silently, privately singing the blues herself. So this is only an outline of a life full of love and service. After this hymn that we'll be singing, we will hear from family members who will share some of their memories with us.
We invite you to rise in body or in spirit. You'll find the hymn, O Love That Wilt Not Let Me Go, printed in your order of service, a favorite hymn of the family.
Oh,
this time, we're going to have some people who knew Suzanne very well come up and speak to you. First is going to be Joe Bennett, and then Arnie Reed.
We are here to celebrate a very bright light. I'm Arnie's first wife and the mother of his children, Sherry and Bill, and you will hear Sherry sing shortly. From the first time I met Suzanne on Christmas Eve, just after she and Arnie had married, I loved her. She dubbed us sister wives. And I felt so honored and thankful for all the time that we had together over the years. She facilitated great healing in our family. On Friday, June 27th of 2014, I got a call with the diagnosis. From that time of diagnosis, Suzanne went to work preparing Arnie for the inevitable reality of her departure from this world. And Arnie was her bridge over troubled waters. So, for my sister of love, Suzanne, my inspiration in writing for you is your lovely way with people, your beautiful gardens, not to mention your radiant eyes that are so evident in this family. You have her eyes. I had not written a poem for some time, but this poem was a gift from God that just arrived one Sunday morning, like 2 days after her diagnosis. She was diagnosed on the 27th, and Sunday morning, the 29th, this just came to me, and it was through me, from God, through me, for her. With love from your sister wife, Joan. Originally, I titled it Love's Imprint, because that's what she left everywhere she went, was love's imprint. Later, the title changed to Radiance, because that's exactly what she was, pure light. Eyes of radiance look upon fertile ground, where footfalls and fingers graze, glorious gardens, crowned with jewels, shades of glory that amaze. Eyes of radiance pierce the darkness, shatters doubt, embedded in tender souls, giving new vigor that triggers the hope, bringing smiles of peace unknown. May she rest in peace. She was loved.
I had the good fortune to be Suzanne's husband for 12 wonderful years. We met online, as Gail said, 4 years after the untimely death of her husband, Lance Peterson, and not long after the death of my second wife, Nancy. Suzanne had always been a big fan of rock star Leon Russell, some of whose songs you've already heard, and whose fan club is more like a big family. They call themselves the Leon Lifers. After Lance's death, the Lifers pulled her out of the depths of despair and helped her broken heart sing again. They paid her way to concerts and opened the door to a new life of fun, friends, and unconditional love. And so, to you Lifers, I tip my imaginary top hat. Suzanne's online profile said that she wanted to meet a musician. She couldn't have known what she was getting herself into. One summer at the streets of Indian Lakes outdoor concert series in Hendersonville, we heard this band called 2-Bit Eddie. When they passed around their sign-up sheet, Suzanne demanded that I put my keyboard card in it. I hesitated, knowing what was probably ahead, but I did. And within a few days, I passed the audition and became their keyboard player. Suzanne attended nearly every one of the 130 gigs the band played over the next 5.5 years. Even the smoky bars and honky-tonks, even the times when we saw the sunrise before we went to bed. At every place we played, she made new friends, many of whom remain in our lives today. For 3 summers, I took her to Blues Week in Elkins, West Virginia, which is a music camp for adults. There she really blossomed. She found her inner blues singer and made even more lifelong friends. Etta James was one of Suzanne's favorite blues singers. One of her favorite Etta songs was At Last, which contains the line, "Life is like a song." And life is like a song. A song has no existence apart from the singing of it. And so a life has no existence apart from the living of it. Suzanne sang her song in the key of love, and everyone who knew her learned that song too. Hers was the song of unconditional generosity and concern for others. We could not go through a checkout line or be waited on at a restaurant without Suzanne finding something to compliment the cashier or the waiter about. Love those nails. Where did you get your hair done? What a pretty top. What a pretty name. There was nothing for her to gain in these interactions except the knowledge that she might have brightened someone's day, someone who she would probably never see again. And that's Suzanne. And so although the singer is gone, her song will live on if we keep singing it the way she taught us to. Thank you.
Oh
Thank you so much, Sherry. Sherry, that's with one R. I apologize, we had that wrong. And Sherry wanted us to share with you the English translation. Blessed Lord Jesus, grant them rest. Grant them eternal rest. Now at this time, we would like to open up the sharing of memories to anyone here who would like to do that. We know that so far we've only talked about the typical story. And we were going to ask you to continue telling memories of each other at the reception, which is after the interment in the columbarium, and to continue telling stories about Suzanne for the rest of your lives. In your order of service, you'll notice that Arnie has placed a beautiful picture of Suzanne, says celebrating Suzanne. Some of you might not want to come up and tell memories. You might want to write them out and give them to Arnie when you're done. Some of you might write it out while other people are talking and then read it to us. But we'll spend a few minutes doing that. So at this time, I would like to invite anyone up who would like to speak. We've got this microphone here, and there's a microphone here if you don't want to come on. Thank you.
Ernie, I don't think I'm going to share anything that you're not very well aware of. I think most of us hope that when we leave this world, and we're all going to at some point, that we leave it a little better than what we experienced when we started here. And Suzanne certainly has done that in so many different ways. Just two things that when I think of Suzanne, you mentioned her friendships. And she had an ability to be friends, and I would call Suzanne one of mine. I know if you talk to my wife, she would tell you that Suzanne was one of her best friends, and she doesn't define many people as best friends. But when she talked about Suzanne, she would share with me that Suzanne was so non-judgmental that it was so easy to be a really good friend with hers. And I watched my wife and watched that unique relationship, and you think it's so exclusive. And then if any of you have looked online on Facebook, the friends that Suzanne has, not only throughout this country, but throughout the world, you realize that that is such a unique talent that she had, to be friends with people. Something else I can share with you about Suzanne. I work for a nonprofit organization. We provide counseling. And for months, Suzanne and Arnie were in my waiting room on a weekly basis. They were bringing someone in that they knew needed the help that we provided. And it was just such a commitment to do that on a weekly basis for months on end. And one day I sat down with Suzanne and just started to tell her how just phenomenal I thought it was that they would do that. And she looked at me in the way that only Suzanne could do, and she said, well, Tim, isn't that what we're supposed to do? And that just is so much like Suzanne. So what I would tell you, Arnie, I think what Suzanne left me anyway is a way to look at how to be friends with people and how to live our lives. She just was phenomenal that way. So thank you, Suzanne.
I'm Carly Dowell, and I got to know Suzanne here at church and through our Dinners for Nine program, where we have groups that get together and in smaller dinner groups and go from house to house, and that's to get to know each other better. And our group kind of was geographic because we all live north of town. And people joke that you need a passport to go up there. But our group became a lot more than a dinner group. And do you all mind standing? So I want to show how many of the group are here tonight. And it grew beyond 9 people, obviously. Thanks. But I want to tell a story beyond the group. The last fair amount of time I spent with Suzanne was they were making a great trip down to Florida and went all the way around Florida. And I just happened to be in Fort Myers when they came through, so we got together. And the night before, this big storm surge had washed up millions of shells on Fort Myers Beach. And Suzanne loved to go pick up shells, so we went together. I only wasn't feeling too good that day, but we went and picked up shells on the beach. And this was one of them. It's a sand dollar. And it I've had it in my living room all week, thinking about how it's sort of like Suzanne's, beautiful but very fragile.
Tina Dunn, I would have a party every year at poolside with karaoke and DJ. And every year for 9 years. When Suzanne could make it, she had a microphone in her hand, and I forever remember her would be singing At Last. All of us in our bathing suits, half drunk. And she was my hero because I could never imagine getting up and singing in front of anybody. So she did it, and At Last was beautifully sung by her.
Hi, my name is Jenny White, and I'm up here today representing the Dirty White Girls. A group of us met Suzanne and Arnie at a lung cancer support group here in Nashville at Gilda's. And it's kind of like what somebody said earlier about how Suzanne could make you feel like she loved you the most. But then you found out that she loved somebody else the most too. It's such a wonderful gift to be able to give to others, that love. She taught us that, and also, you know, when you get a diagnosis, as again someone else has said, none of us are getting out of here alive, that suddenly life becomes so much more important. And can I say what she said in church? It really was perfect. We were having a little discussion about the lung cancer group. It was a pilot program to see what we would do for lung cancer survivors. And I think they had just gotten back from Norway, maybe. And it came about that, you know, she was saying this and, I've been traveling, bucket list, and so on and so forth. And she looked at us and said that she wasn't, regarding lung cancer, wasn't going to sit around and wait for this shit. So I encourage you all, not just, you know what we mean. Love you. She said it. I love you very much, Arnie.
My name is Jim Rice. My wife and I and our good friend Mike have come from Memphis. She spent a lot of years there, and she was with us and in our lives through Eastwood Hospital, and then the psychiatric management practices, the Agape years, and then after that, for a number of years until, and we had very frequent contact and vacations. Her years with Lance were beautiful. He was a beautiful, peaceful, loving man, although he was quite ill. We were with her through that experience, and also many more joyful times. I'd have to say, though, when she said, I met this guy online and I'm going to marry him. was kind of going, oh, okay. And then her beautiful present husband came to Memphis. We met him, and we said, okay, it's chill. We're good. We're good. We can let her go. She can go to Nashville. She can go be all right. I would say she had kind of an impish, devilish glee and joy at just being connected and being kind of electrified by that connection. She used to call me Geminator. Who would come up with that? But I think that pulsing need to connect is beautiful. That I'm hearing that now, and the interconnectedness that we heard at the very start is kind of how she plugs into eternity, and will always, they'll always be that way.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Suzanne, about our memories. But our memories of Suzanne call us to do more than talk. For even as Suzanne's loving spirit was larger than life, she is larger than death. The legacy invites us to emulate the life she lived. She was conscious that she wanted to be that model for us to follow. The things that she wanted us to pay attention to were the ways that one faces all of life's joys and challenges with forthright and non-judgmental honesty, as we heard from someone here today. Nary a judgment, but always so honest. She challenges us all to love with all our heart, our mind, our soul, our body, to connect. And to let that love and connection guide each one of us so that we help others. And she showed us that help comes from incredible generosity, incredible, expansive understanding of a word that we don't use much anymore, sacrifice. And what that means is, by giving, she made that relationship sacred. That's all sacrifice means, is to make that relationship, that giving, sacred. Now, Suzanne has changed many of your lives with her love. And so you are very important people. She lives on as your hearts carry that transformative love forward and out into this wide world, wherever you traveled here from today. Not just today and tomorrow, but for the rest of your lives. Before we go out to the columbarium, which is where we inter... Yes, we will have a song after that. Yes, I won't forget that. But I wanted to, before the song and going out to the columbarium, thank you. I wanted to do a reading that I can just, it's by the Rabbi Rami Shapiro, but it's a reading that I can just see Suzanne reading when we're done. Please. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Blessed be, and amen.
And got to meet Arnie and Suzanne through a picking party here in Nashville. We get together and play our music. And this song I wrote, it's called Someone Waiting, and it's a song of hope. And I know Suzanne got to sing it with us one night, so I'm just honored to sing it for her today. I've got someone waiting on the other side. Mountains I'm facing, they've already climbed. So when I cross over, I won't be alone there. I've got someone waiting on the they say no man can know for certain what lies behind life's final curtain. But I'm convinced the soul of me will go where it's supposed to be, and loved ones that I've lost I'll find again. I've got someone waiting on the other side. Mountains I'm facing, they've already climbed. So when I cross over, I won't be alone there. I've got someone waiting on the other side. And though I'll be a stranger there, all my fears, they'll help me rise above. Through the valley of the night, they will shine the guiding light of love, the light of love. I've got someone waiting on the other side. Mountains I'm facing, they've already climbed. So when I cross over, I won't be alone there. I've got someone waiting on the other side. Amen.
And I'd like to invite you, if you would like, to follow us out these doors outside, bundle up. We will have mics, so if you want to listen from inside here, you're invited to do so.
Of Suzanne Reed. In this place of memory,
always sitting at the edge of this church's lively community, caring fellowship, and hopeful outreach. Arnie, would you please place Suzanne's ashes in the columbarium?
Ancient wisdom teaches us that for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, including a time to be born and a time to die. We mourn when we remember Suzanne's death, and we laugh when we remember her life. The time to love her will not end, but the time to keep her has passed. And so we will weep and laugh together, connected through her in love. May it be so.
As we leave this place of memory, let us say farewell to this beloved daughter, sister, aunt, wife, and friend. You may wish to add some soil. As you do so, we have some here with a shovel. Let us remember Suzanne Reed with love, and see her in the 1,000 faces of the people she loved with generosity and with joy. Blessed be, and amen.
You take a picture.
So much to go.
She can come and sing.
Okay, we all ready? 1, 2, 3.
My daughter is,
Reading now, and
she's trained as an opera.